Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to see a head-to-head with different CAD programs and different operations and just different approaches.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm very excited to see how both these runners do. They've both already been through the first round of Too Tall Toby Mayhem. They kind of know what to expect. Now we get to really get into it here and see a little bit deeper challenges. So let's go. Let's do it. I'm going to flip over to my full screen view here. All right, here we go. Inventor versus Onshape. Our very first CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? Our runners are grabbing a screen capture of this part. They are moving it over to their second monitor. They're looking at the part, coming up with a game plan, and they are jumping into their 3D CAD environment. If you guys want to play along with from home, feel free to grab a screen capture of this thing. And it looks like both of our runners have a good plan and are getting started. So let's flip over to this CAD versus CAD showdown. What do you think about this part, Todd?
We are definitely stepping it up. I mean, this is, like you said, it's getting more complex, and so it's going to be really fun to see the different approaches.
Yeah, I see. We got Inventor on the left. I like the approach here that Inventor's using, almost like he's looking at maybe the section view of this print. I can bring this print up here as our runners are kind of coming up with a game plan, so the audience sort of knows what we're talking about here. You can see that there's several different views of this thing, and there's going to be a lot of different approaches to this thing, but it looks like we got Fabian on the left running Inventor, kind of looking at this thing from a side view, maybe almost inverting what's on the print, which is totally valid. We're just trying to come up with the mass, so if you wanted to draw it upside down, that's fine. What do you got going on?
I'm watching Ryan,
yeah,
and he's kind of hitting it in the approach that I would take. So it's really interesting to see. It's like, okay, somebody's thinking the same way I do, and it's very similar to what I would be doing.
And that's where you draw almost like what's shown in the section view and then spin that around a central axis?
Yep, and then he's doing it all with rectangles instead of doing individual lines.
Okay, you like that approach, huh?
One of those quicker things that I tend to do.
Okay, I've been trying to get used to that since I've been using Onshape more. I've been trying to get more used to that because Onshape really handles those scenarios well. So I've been trying, but I find myself using it in SolidWorks now as well. And I can see on the left here, I can see that Fabian is already created that first shape and is now moving on to creating that little one of those little anchors that's sticking out of those
little flanges.
Yeah, little flanges that are sticking out on the side.
Well, I'm watching Ryan, and he did some of the cool tricks where you just kind of grab and drag to check for your degrees of freedom, just to make sure he's got everything locked in.
Grab a blue point and move it around.
Yep. Same thing I do. I'm really digging it.
Yeah. So now, one of the challenges that always comes up, especially when you're under pressure, is not being able to find the dimension that you need. I'm sure that you have felt that before in various speed modeling challenges.
I know I need to do this. Where did that dimension go?
And usually it just ends up being literally right in front of you.
Yep.
And you're kind of like, what am I doing wrong here?
But that's one of those things that I'll do too, because if you just at least throw a dimension on it, you can extrude it and get your thing, and then you can come back in and hit that dimension later.
Well, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah, just throw a dummy dimension on there and hope that you find it later. That's a great strategy, one I hadn't even really thought of.
I do it all the time, because a lot of times when you don't know the exact design intent that somebody's looking for, you just set up something so that you could easily tweak it. And, part of that goes back to Model Mania when you have to change it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point.
But, if I'm just knocking out something really quick, I will put dummy dimensions in there.
Yeah, that's a really great point, and definitely a strategy that I think we're gonna probably see more and more people doing now that you said it. I think that's like a pro move strategy. I think everybody could probably learn from that. So I'm just watching Fabian on the left here. We can see that Fabian is kind of now going through and trying to figure out what to do with those lugs that are sticking out, those flanges that are sticking out, and trying to create these additional features on here. Very interesting approach that he's got. One thing that I noticed is his ability to kind of leave the sketch open and then reuse the edge geometry from the model. So we'll see how that pays off for him. I know I keep drawing attention to the golden spamfish using dark mode, but the reason I do that is because, Onshape runs in a browser. So it's not just a simple like toggle a switch and it goes to dark mode. You have to do some pretty serious tweaking to Chrome to get Chrome to go in dark mode, and then to Onshape to make sure that it actually like inverts the colors properly and everything. And I just think that he's done a great job of pulling this off.
Well, and it's really nice and easy on the eyes to look at. So if you're plugging away at this all day long, that's a very relaxing screen.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It is still neck and neck.
Yeah, this is the round of 16. There's part of me that wonders if maybe I actually went a little too hard on these, but there's no turning back now.
No.
This is what we all wanted to see. We wanted to see. I see a lot of comments sometimes on these videos. They're like, "Oh, those models look so easy. Those models look so easy." And it's like, just wait. They're gonna keep getting harder.
Well, and it's like people watching Jeopardy. It's like, oh, I could have answered that. Well, yeah, but when you're on stage and the camera's on you,
yes,
everyone's watching.
Yes, great point. So interesting. So it looks like on the left, Fabian was able to create that feature not using a rib, but using an extrusion. So that's, for that, it's a rib. A lot of programs have a rib feature that'll, the advantage is a lot of times it'll go up to next in multiple directions. But Fabian decided instead to do it with, with using just a regular extrusion. And that's totally fine too. That's a cool thing about these challenges is that a lot of times there's more than one way to get there.
Yeah, and I didn't want to throw out the R word on that.
Yeah, you don't know how much. I feel like we've gotten to the round of 16. These guys probably know what a rib is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure either.
I was like, I want to see how they're going to handle that.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to call it, but...
Gusset.
Yes,
that's what you can call it. If you don't want to use the feature name, you can call it a gusset. I did that in the earlier rounds. Eric Beatty in the chat saying, Toby, you've chosen the right level of challenges. No regrets. Appreciate that. All right, and Jürgen is here from Germany. What's up? Welcome. Says best regards to all the participants and good luck. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. Well, question here from Gonzalo says, what would be the advantage of the Ivan exploit? I don't think you're going to see as many Ivan exploits available as we go into the round of 16. It's something where, there would be an advantage of using that. There's going to be some models where there's going to be an advantage to using that, but I think these models have gotten a little too complicated. I think you're going to probably end up like tying yourself in knots if you try to use it. So, there's going to be a little bit more... As the models get more and more complicated, have more and more curved and drafted faces, it's going to be harder to use the Ivan exploit.
Yeah, the models are coming up to the level of the runners.
Yeah, I think so as well. Eric's making a great observation here. Yeah, features that intersect cylinders always bring out the most interesting approaches in these competitions. Yeah, I completely agree because you always run the risk of ending up with a zero geometry, zero thickness geometry. Yeah, and so you have to really watch out when you're making stuff against cylinders. And Eric, what a great comment, man. That's completely
nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it.
I was watching them both do that, and it's one of those where it's like, oh, okay, you're gonna have to go further in so you don't lose it.
Right. And we see the golden spamfish on the right here, kind of looking at his model, trying to figure out, like, it looks like he's really close, and he's just trying to figure out, like, there's got to be something here. Something's going on with this model, and I can't quite figure out what it is. Yeah.
Double checking before you get the mass.
Yep. A lot of these models here in the round of 16, there's going to be, maybe some oddball dimensioning. Some of the models are going to have some, like I mentioned in the intro, they're going to have some feature dependency where you really are going to have to create your features in a certain order, or else you're not going to be able to get the geometry that you need to be constrained. Exactly. Tayfun giving a shout out to the model. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, I got to get sure that I'm ready for this as the as the solutions start rolling in.
Because they are really close.
Yeah.
And we are going to see some weights coming in any second now.
Very, very
We've got to wait from Ryan.
Okay, the golden spamfish is coming in with an answer. His answer is 1450 grams, and that is correct. So let's give it up for the golden spamfish. 1450 is correct. Fabian coming in 1509, right behind him, very, very close as far as time goes. But it was the golden spamfish who was able to answer that correctly using on shape. Very nicely done, locking down the first point. Congratulations to the golden spamfish, also known as Ryan, also known as what's his other name here? Santiago.
Oh yeah,
Lamman. He's got it all. He's got it all. Very
it's a
nicely
stage name.
done. It's a stage name. We like it. We like it. Let's give a GG to the winner for that one. Wow, wow, wow. That was awesome. Cole Dawson says, my money's on Ryan to take the whole thing. Wow. Eric B says, GG to Ryan and also GG to Santiago. Very nice. Liam says, great job, guys.